First group of the Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds getting ready to wind up here in a moment to see the Ginger Ninja Jack Lehner with the Bill Nelson owned number 85, the Bloomfield Forest car, headed up into turns 1 and 2. We'll go ahead and here. Get the Modifieds underway for their first group of hot laps. There's the 2RJ, Ronnie Johnson. Getting ready to roll his way through turn number 4. Caution flag coming out. Later in the 85 slowing here on the front stretch. That is definitely not how you want to start your evening. Joe Soul taking the Palmer Service Center 76 up into turns 1 and 2. Palmer Service Center, man, they've been around here a long, long time. Joe Soul, the latest driver to step behind the wheel of that machine as the tow truck pulls in here to give a push to the Lehner 85 car. Some of the other cars out on track here as they circle around under the caution flag. We mentioned Ronnie Johnson. He's over between turns 3 and 4 with the 2RJ machine. The Craig Hansen, number 20, the Hansen Paving Race Prep car, heading down the front stretch toward turn number 1. The 21C, that is the Brian Calabrese entry, the Miller's Ready Mix sponsored car. The Killer Crate number 97, Bobby Hackle the 4th, making the trip out here this evening for a little racing action. Also out on track is the Hiko sponsored number 3. Pep Karate, as well as the number 4, Cody Clark. Remember him from some successful years in the Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman division, moving up into the modified category now. And also coming down the front stretch is the number 28. That would be Mike Traxhold. So far in this hot lap session, Cody Clark in the number 4 has set the quickest lap at a 19.119. Ronnie Johnson with the 2RJ at a 19.164. Craig Hansen at a 19.223. The Trackhold 2018 at 19.362. Bobby Hackle the 4th jumping up now to 3rd quick with a 19.134. As Joe Chris waves the checkered flag over this first group of the Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds. And they will cycle back into the pit area, get ready for the qualifying heat races coming up in just a little bit. Modified action at Fonda Speedway brought to you by the Amsterdam Truck Center at 1881 State Highway 5S, offering heavy-duty commercial truck and trailer repairs, specializing in Peterbilt, Kenworth, and trim car equipment. They're also an authorized dealer for Cobb Tuning and other vehicle accessory brands. Easy to find on Facebook. Search Amsterdam Truck Center and give them a like. Second group of competitors making their way out here on pit road. There's the Hallmark number 44, Stuart Friesen, and right behind him is Superman Matt Shepard with the Haas number 9. Jessica Zemkin, the 1ZT's number 1Z, coming down the front stretch here. Also see the Moody Mile Motorsports number 24 of Adam McAuliffe has made his way out here. Another number 4 car, if memory serves me correctly, that number 4 machine should be Anthony Perego. That should be the 4AP. So we take a look at Matt Shepard cruising slowly up into turns 3 and 4. Alex Yankowski out for this hot lap session out of Covington Township, Pennsylvania, the 84Y. Rocky Warner with the number 79, the Vertex Magsaurus number 93. That is the Varon entry. Danny Varon piloting that car here in the 2025 season. Also out on track, Eric Mack aboard the number 71. See the number 9, the S&S number 9, one of a couple. That'll be the Mark Johnson 9J, we'll call it, heading up into turns 1 and 2. Still quickest overall lap. It's been turned by Cody Clark. Caution and checker waving over the Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds. Matt Shepard second quick now in an 18.989. Stuart Friesen 19.006. And Jessica Friesen right behind Hubs at a 19.062. Ronnie Johnson rounding out the quickest 5 from the warm-up sessions here with the 19.084. Now, looks like one of our Fonda Fair 4-cylinders is going to go ahead and get a couple of practice laps here around the track as we get ready for our opening ceremonies. For those of you watching on FloRacing, we are going to step aside for a commercial timeout. You're watching the Track of Champions Fonda Speedway. And welcome back to those of you on FloRacing, and welcome to those of you who maybe have just made it into the grandstands here, got out of work, and got yourself ready to go to come to the Track of Champions for the 2025 12A opening day as we honor Jumpin' Jack Johnson. And I don't know if you had a chance to see on social media the DKM Fabrication Trophy. Eric Mack and Dave Constantino of DKM and Hageman came up with a very unique trophy for our Amsterdam Truck Center modified feature winner this evening. A couple of contingency awards that are in play tonight and every week that we race here at the Track of Champions. Palmer Service Center doing a victory lane drawing. Drivers finishing 2nd through 10th in the Amsterdam Truck Center modified and Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman features entered into a drawing for a $100 online performance parts Stone Motorsports gift certificate. And the drivers advance in the most positions from their scheduled starting spot for the Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman, and on regular Saturday nights for the Montgomery County Office for Aging Limited Sportsmen receive Greco's Napa Hard Charger Award certificates in the amount of $100 for the Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman and $50 for the Greco's Napa Hard Charger Award for the Montgomery County Office for Aging Limited Sportsmen. So we have a few minutes here before opening ceremonies and the start of tonight's racing program here at the Track of Champions. For those of you on the grounds, I would direct you, if you are hungry or thirsty, to one of the concession stands. We have the main concession stand, which is full service, full menu, and that is just to the left of the covered grandstand. And then up on the turn number 1 side near the turn 1 VIP suites, we have our secondary stand, which tonight is serving hamburgers and hot dogs along with chili and salt potatoes, Pepsi-Cola products, nachos, candy, and potato chips. You can find the full menu that includes Philly cheesesteak, sausage, Speedies, salt potatoes, cheese fries, chicken tenders, pizza logs, mozzarella sticks, and so on and so forth. At the main concession stand. The concession special tonight, by the way, is chicken patty with cheese and bacon, available for just $6, along with a full line of Pepsi-Cola products to quench your thirst. Or if you care to partake of the adult beverage, the beer booth is open with your favorite cold beers and seltzers. It's beneath the covered grandstand right next to the main gate where most of you came into the grandstand complex here this evening. Also down here below us, as part of the main grandstand complex, is the Fonda Speedway store, where you can get your official Fonda Speedway gear from Bob Hilbert Sportswear. We're talking t-shirts, hoodies, hats, decals, plus things like earplugs, goggles, checker flags for the kids, candy, popcorn, and soda. If you want to satisfy your sweet tooth, all available at the Fonda Speedway store. Restroom facilities here on the grounds are down on the turn 1 end of the covered grandstand for the ladies, and down towards the end of the covered grandstand here for the gentlemen. And I would be remiss if I did not encourage you to partake of our Fonda Speedway 50/50 raffle. Sellers are going to be making their way through the grounds throughout the course of the evening. Half the proceeds go into the Drivers Point Fund. It's a great way to help support your favorite drivers here at the Track of Champions. The other half we give away to one of you lucky race fans later on this evening, but you have zero chance of winning the 50/50 if you don't buy a ticket. I always grab one early and then grab one a little later in the evening to kind of attempt to better the odds, shall we say. So we are scheduled for our next event here at the Track of Champions coming up on Saturday night. That would be the tribute to race fan Wayne Winsman with our regular divisions. That would include the Montgomery County Office for Aging Limited Sportsman and Fonda Fair 4-cylinders, who are off tonight. It'll be opening night of the 2025 points chase to crown track champions for our all of our divisions. And we have the Mohawk Valley Vintage Dirt Modified scheduled to be in the house here as well. Some of the other events coming up, Saturday, May 3rd, the Amsterdam Truck Center Modified is running for $4,000 to win. The Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman for $1,500 to win, and the Pro Stocks presented by Leather Stocking Credit Union running for $1,000 to win. So some extra cash on the line for Saturday, May the 3rd. And then Wednesday, May the 14th, will be the River Rage here at Fonda, 358 Modifieds. will be on the card for the first time in the 2025 season, along with the Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman, plus an appearance by the Street Stocks and the SCDRA Rulebook 4 cylinders. You saw one of those cars here just a couple of minutes ago. That was that number 97 4-cylinder that was running around the track. You were probably looking at it, taking a look at the bodywork and the tires on that car and saying, wait a minute, that doesn't look like the typical 4-cylinder that runs here. You're right, it's not. That is an SCDRA Sport Compact Dirt Racing Association rule package 4-cylinder car. They're tarted up a little bit from the regular Saturday night 4-cylinders that we run here at Fonda. So the track prep crew is out putting a little bit of moisture down on the racing surface. So while they're doing that, for those of you watching FloRacing, we'll step aside. You're watching the Track of Champions, Fonda Speedway. And welcome back to the Track of Champions Fonda Speedway here on FloRacing. We are proud to be partnered with FloRacing once again as our official live stream provider for the 2025 season. So if for some reason maybe you can't make a race here, you can always watch it on FloRacing. Now, taking a little turn back the clock page here, going back in history. 10 years ago, April 18th, 2015 was opening day here at the Track of Champion. You're going to recognize some of the names that were in victory lane that night. Stuart Friesen was your modified winner. Rocky Warner picked up the Crate 602 Sportsman. Nick Stone was the Pro Stock winner. Dave Horning Sr. was the Street Stock winner. Going back 20 years, now we're getting a little bit older here. 20 years ago, 2005. Feels weird to say 2005 was 20 years ago. Holy cow. Jeff Trombley was our modified winner. David Towns won the Sportsman. Butchie Irwin, the Pro Stocks. And there were a pair of Street Stock features. John Babcock, Rocky Warner picking up the victories. And if we go back further than that, 25 years ago to 2K, 415 2K, Pat Ward visited Victory Lane in the modifieds. Jim Burton, remember him for many years campaigning here, was the Pro Stock winner. Dick Nichols and Jerry Pepper were the Street Stock winners. And there's an IMC fight, and that was won by Pennsylvania's Randy Hall. Want to wish a happy belated birthday to Mark Mortensen. Celebrated, looks like back on the 14th? 19th. Brett Mortensen celebrated back on the 16th. So we weren't here to be able to say happy birthday to you in person, but we'll do it now. So happy belated to both of them. So Mark turned the big 4-0 this year, I understand. And getting a word from the pit area in the Amsterdam Truck Center modified division that the 85, the Jack Lehner machine, broke a U-joint on the car. That is a repair that can probably be made in the pit area. We'll wait and see if he's able to answer the call for his respective heat race in the Amsterdam Truck Center modifieds. I know Jimmy Beach had a problem as well in the Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman Hot Laps. His car came to a stop right about under the Sunoco Race Fuels Insinger Performance banners on the backstretch. And we're getting a look down here in the infield at that beautiful restored Jumpin' Jack Johnson coupe. And I was thinking about this earlier today on the ride out here, that if there was anybody that I think I could compare Jumpin' Jack Johnson to on a national stage for our FloRacing audience, I'd have to say he was probably closest to being our version of AJ Foyt. A tough customer, no nonsense, knew how to have fun, was a fun guy. But when it came time to strap in and get behind the wheel of a race car, all business and massively, massively talented.
You know, one of the things I admired most about Jack was he would take anybody under his wing. And there's so many guys that are super successful today that he mentored, and they have won so many races and accomplished so much because of Jack Johnson. You know, I can't say enough about the guy, but I think you're pretty on the money with that, comparing him to AJ Foyt. You know, you probably could have put him in any car at his prime, and he would have won in that car, no matter what it was.
And I can remember coming here for the first time, probably, I want to say around 1991 or 1992. Jack was still racing back then, of course, still winning back then. And the roar that would come up from the crowd when he was out on the racetrack, man, you could have probably heard that way back in Utica.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. You know, he was just one of those guys. And like Stuart Friesen, you either loved Jack Johnson or you hated Jack Johnson. There was no in between. And you know, you're right. He would come out on this track, and people would either cheer for him because they loved him, or they would boo the heck out of him because they did not like him, because he would win every week here.
And I remember as well, I think it was the very first Thunder along the Mohawk that happened here many years ago. I think I'm showing my age by talking about this, but that very first Thunder on the Mohawk, he was right up there in contention for the win, as I remember it. And this place, I mean, they were literally hanging from the rafters that night.
Yeah, no, and I can totally relate to that, because, with my dad racing here in his later years as well, people just, they went berserk when he was running well. And when he won his last race, like you said, when Jack won too, I remember his last win here. I remember it vividly. And people were out of their chairs, on their feet, and screaming their heads off. I remember that for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I was I'm running down pit road cheering and half crying because I was just so happy for him. So absolutely, I remember that.
Yeah, I like you said. You may have loved him, you may not have loved him, but you had to respect the man.
Absolutely. Respect him as a person, but respect him for what he achieved. He came from driving coupe cars to modern day cars and was super successful in both. So you can't take any of that away from him.
Yeah, and if you eyeball that coupe that's down there, that's Stone Age technology compared to what we have in today's race cars with all of the offset chassis that have been around and evolved over the course of the past, let's see, the offset chassis started sometime in the early 80s. So we've gone through multiple evolutions. These cars are so much different now than they used to be. They used to be modified stock cars. And that was the thing, is that sometimes you would flat tow these things to the races, meaning that you just have a tow bar on the back of the family sedan.
Yes.
or the family truck, and you would just roll that thing down the road right behind you and bring it to the racetrack.
Yeah, and I remember when we were kids, my dad would just use an open trailer, and we would love to ride in the race car on the trailer on the way home. And boy, I'll tell you, we'd go through some of those valleys, and it would be very, very cold, but we had a great time. My brothers and I talk about it all the time. But you're right, Paul. Flat towing back then was just how these guys got it done.
And now everybody tows in purpose-built trailers that are basically rolling race shops on wheels. So it is a lot different now than it used to be back in the day. But great to have that representation and have the Jack Johnson 12A Coupe sitting down there in the infield as a reminder of the greatness and the spanning of the eras, shall we say, that Jumpin' Jack Johnson had in the course of dirt modified racing. Of course, winner a couple of times at Super Dirt Week. Can remember the first Super Dirt Week that I went to, 1984, and Jack Johnson wound up being the winner. Can remember watching a Labor Day modified race when they used to have those, the Moody Mile, when we had that at the State Fairgrounds. You can remember standing outside turn number 1, watching from one of the restrooms.
Wasn't that the Super Dirt Week? Was the Schaefer 200 back then? Is that what it was?
The Schaefer 200 back in the day. Yes,
yes.
Absolutely.
Good memories for sure. Hold on to those because there was never going to be another Moody Mile. So we will hold on to those memories forever.
Yep. I'm still trying to warm up from some of those Octobers, I'll tell you that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are counting down here just minutes away from the start of tonight's 12A opening day program here at the Track of Champions, the Fonda Speedway. Before our opening ceremonies, for those of you watching on Flow, we'll take a commercial timeout. Well, good evening for those of you on FloRacing, and good evening to all of you in the grandstands here. Welcome to the Track of Champions, Fonda Speedway, one of the more unique half-mile racetracks in the United States, nestled along the Mohawk River here in the Mohawk Valley of New York State. We are ready to begin our 12A opening day program with our opening ceremony, so let's head down to Checkerboard Square and FX Cabrera Victory Lane, where Mimi Lazaro is standing by.
Thanks, Paul. It's really great to have you back this year, and I'm happy to have you, happy to be here, happy to be with Greg. It's a beautiful day. We couldn't have picked a better day this week to be here. It's a beautiful spring day here off of exit 28 on the New York State Thruway. We are Fonda Speedway, the Track of Champions. We are called the Track of Champions for a reason. Most people go on from this track and have great success. So welcome, everyone. It's so cool to see all these red shirts, these orange shirts, I should say, out here in the stands. It's so cool to have you all here. We have a 32-lap modified feature tonight, paying $4,012 to win. Want to mention we have had 8 Jack Johnson events here. First one was won by Mike Mahaney. Next was Stuart Friesen, Matt Shepard, Mike Mahaney won again, Tim Fuller, Rocky Warner, Stuart Friesen, and Tim Fuller won the last one in 2023. We did not have one last year, hence why Brett is trying so hard to have this race this year on this day. So not sure who tonight is going to win, but we wish everyone luck. Jack Johnson had a total of 152 feature wins here at Fonda Speedway. A lot of people think he only had 149. I actually believe that as well until recently. Ron Zerba told me that he actually has 2 320 wins and 1 358 win, along with his 149 big block wins here. So Jack Johnson has a total of 102 feature wins here at Fonda Speedway. I believe total feature wins in his career is somewhere around 428. So that is amazing for any one driver to achieve. So we remember him here tonight. He had 8 opening day wins here at Fonda Speedway. Following him was my dad with 7, and next in line with 6 opening day wins was Stuart Friesen. So we'll see if Stuart might be able to tie my dad tonight for 7 opening day wins here. So without further ado, thank you all for being here. We're going to begin our opening ceremonies with prayer, as we have been doing. Greg, it's so great to have you here. Great to have you here for 5 years by my side. Love having you here. He's from the Racers for Christ. Gregory Nitz, glad to have you here. Please do us all a favor by opening our ceremonies. Folks, if you could, if you're able, please rise and remove your hats. Gregory Nitz from the Finish Line Chaplain Ministries. Take it away.
Thank you. I just remind that, with all this talk of the old days, there's a little bit of the old days in every day. And as this Fonda family comes together, we have some prayer requests. Lane Parks has a difficult surgery coming up ahead. Ricky Taylor, RCT Roofing. This is all part of our racing family. These people here are very well involved. Bob Perrin is an Orange County photographer. He's been around, travels the circuit for a long time, is in the hospital not well, and so is Marty Dibble from Upstate Auto. So we pray that they trust in the Lord and find his mighty strength. And just a little reminder, there's no act, there is no deed, there's nothing that we can do ourselves. The work has been done. It's by our faith and his grace that we just trust in him and that we are saved by our Lord and Savior. So let's go to prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord God, we just thank you for this opportunity here at Fonda Speedway, Lord, this Track of Champions, this family, Lord. Just take a moment to look to you. We pray that your guardian angels, hand of mercy be upon everyone here. The needs, the prayer requests, Lord, touch hearts, Lord. But most of all is because of you, your mercy and your grace. And we lift each driver, crew, fan, official, safety team, Lord. And once again, just thank you for your love. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, join us as we pay tribute to our flag and our nation as Mimi Lazaro performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Woo! Had to push through that one. Thank you all so much for being here. On behalf of Brett Dale, Jamie and Denise Page, I'm Mimi Lazaro, and I'm going to send it back up top to Paul Small.
All right, thank you very much, Mimi, and a special shout out to Bobby Hackle IV, helping to present our nation's colors with the Killer Crate number 97 machine during the course of our opening ceremony. So we are just about ready to get underway with tonight's racing program. Races they will redraw for their feature event positions for the top qualifiers. So the field will probably take at least one more lap here under the caution flag as we get ready to get everybody started here. A little bit of moisture was applied to the racing surface during the break between the hot laps and opening ceremony. So giving the drivers a lap or two to iron in any remaining moisture, be able to get an eyeball on the racing surface, kind of get a sight lap, if you will, before we go green. First of two heats here for the Leather Stocking Credit Union Pro Stocks, followed by a pair of heats for the Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds. Then we have three heat races for the Swagger Factory Apparel Sport. Brief break, we'll do a little more track prep and then get ready for our round of feature events. And again, the Leather Stocking Credit Union Pro Stocks will be first, followed by the Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds and the Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman. Leather Stocking Credit Union is open and eligible to you if you live in Otsego, Shenango, Delaware, Herkimer, Madison, Montgomery, or Schoharie counties, with local service, affordable loan rates, checking accounts with no minimum balance, over 55,000 surcharge-free ATMs, as well as savings accounts, money markets, IRAs, and more. You can check them out online at lsrfcu.org. That's lsrfcu.org. So recap the starting lineup. Bo Ballard coming from the pole. Caden Domblewski outside row number 1. Row 2 will be the Andy Graves 96 and the Kenny Gates 35. Bumping up to the outside of row number 2 with Oxet dropping to the tail of the field. Then Mike Hill with the 15M. Chucky Domblewski with the number 7 in row number 3. And Oxet will start shotgun on the field by himself in row number 4. So the pack enters into turn 3, and it's the moment we've been waiting since winter for. Well, heck, we've been waiting for it since last year, for cars to hit the Sunoco start zone. Coming off turn number 4, ready for the first green flag of 2025. Here we go. And as the pack charges into turns 1 and 2, it'll be Bo Ballard grabbing the early lead, but Andy Graves got a good run on the inside, then checks up a little bit in turn number 2. That causes Caden Domblewski to slide up the racetrack, and Kenny Gates will come down to the inside in the number 35. Kenny likes running the bottom around this tricky half-mile racetrack, and he'll use it to try to move up into third as we come around to complete lap number 1 with Bo Ballard up on the point. Graves running in second. Battle for third. Kenny Gates pushes up the racetrack. Chuck Domblewski trying to come into the mix, and a battle for the lead now going into turn number 3. Andy Graves slides through on the inside of turn number 3, and he'll put that number 96 car up on the point ahead of Bo Ballard's number 15 as we come around for the conclusion of lap number 2. Graves leads back through turns 1 and 2, has opened up a gap of about 2 car lengths over Ballard. And then you've got Chucky Domblewski, who has come from the back of the field up into the number 3 position. Kenny Gates now about 3 or 4 car lengths back behind him in the number 4 spot as we watch our race leader Graves bring it down off turn number 4, back down across the line as they shoot back down into turns 1 and 2. He continues to increase his lead over the Ballard number 15. That lead now about 7 car lengths as the pack works into turns 3 and 4. A little bit further back in the field is the Ballard number 15 holding on to second. Chuck Domblewski, Chucky in third. Kenny Gates running in fourth, and now the 07 of Chucky Domblewski is actually closing in. That's Caden Domblewski who is in third. So Caden in third, Chucky with the 07 sits back in the number 5 spot, about 2 car lengths back behind the Kenny Gates number 35 as they work off turn number 4. We have passed the halfway point as we are now working lap number 6 of the 8-lap distance for this first Leather Stocking Credit Union Pro Stock Heat race. Gates pulling away from Chucky Domblewski and getting maybe about a 3 car length margin now with that Schoolhouse Pools number 35 car entering turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, your race leader Graves will get the 2 to go signal as we continue to follow this battle for 4th and 5th. Looks like 1 car off the pace will be Mike Hill with the 15M as you'll see him on the outside of the racetrack here in turn number 3 headed on to pit road. Left side of your screen, Race leader Andy Graves coming down to the white flag. Right side of the split screen is that continuing battle for 4th and 5th between Gates and Chucky Dumbluski as we work the final lap here in heat number 1 for the Leather Stocking Credit Union Pro Stocks. And Andy Graves will ease that car down through turns 3 and 4 and bring that machine off turn number 4 to the checkered flag. So Graves will get the win. Bo Ballard will finish in 2nd. Caden Dumbluski comes away with the 3rd. Kenny Gates finishes 4th. The 07 of Chucky Dumbluski in for the 5th spot. Mike Axa finishes 6th, and Mike Hill, unfortunately, pulling off the racetrack with a mechanical issue. So again, your top 5, Andy Graves, Bo Ballard, Caden Dumbluski, Kenny Gates, and Chucky Dumbluski as we wrap up heat 1 for the Leather Stocking Credit Union Pro Stocks here tonight at Fonda Speedway. Don't forget to join us again coming up this Saturday night. We're joined by the Mohawk Valley Vintage Dirt Modified Club as part of the racing festivities here, as heat number 2 for the Leather Stocking Credit Union Pro Stocks makes its way out on track. Here's the way they'll line up for this one. Nick Dana out of Rotterdam with the number 82 will be your pole sitter. Outside the front row, cousin Luke Horning with the 2H machine out of Gloversville. Ivan Jocelyn's 49 out of Fultonville, and Nick Stone's 8N from Rotterdam share road 2. Nick Santuccioni out of Glenville with the 10. Jason Morrison with the 715 out of Johnstown at row 3. Final starting row will be Rob Van Arnhem with the number 71. As the field gets ready to hit the Sunoco start zone in between turns 3 and 4, anticipating the green flag. The green flag does wave. And no surprise from the outside of the front row, cousin Luke will jump up into the lead. He's going to have some company, though. Here comes Nick Stone, and there goes Nick Stone, making his way into the lead by about a car length as the pack works into turns 3 and 4. So Stone running down on the bottom lane of the racing surface here. Horning staying up in the middle groove of the fast lane as Jocelyn that's in behind into 3rd. The pack works through turns 1 and 2. Looks like Morrison and early 4th. Dana has faded back to the 5th spot, and Van Arnhem flirting with the wall over there in turn number 2. And around goes the number 62 of Dana. Got up a little wide in turn number 2. And the back end lost traction. And the caution flag will wave for the first time here with 1 lap complete. That'll slow the field down, get him back into a double file formation. No harm, no foul there for the Dana number 62. Checking the FloRacing has faded back to the Van Arnhem had gotten out wide, looked like he was flirting with the concrete, and then Dana just, I think there was more power application than available traction in turn number 2. So he will have to hustle around to catch up to the tail of the starting field. He has done that, so we will get a 1 to go signal when they come across here at the start-finish line. Nick Stone, your current leader. Luke Horning in the number 2 spot. Ivan Jocelyn currently in 3rd with the 49, the 715 of Jason Morrison in 4th. And rounding out the top 5 early on here is Nick Santuccione with the number 1D. So we're ready to go back to racing here as the pack heads down toward that Sunoco restart zone between the 2 Sunoco banners in turn number 4. Green flag waves. Stone is on the hammer, and he will lead him down into turns 1 and 2. Cousin Luke looking for the crossover move, trying to pull the same move that Nick pulled on him to take the race lead. Doesn't work for him, though, as they head down the backstretch and into turn number 3. Now Horning will try the bottom lane on Stone. Stone staying strong on the outside. They'll go side by side coming off turn number 4, and they're going to go door to door down into turns 1 and 2. Horning committed to that low lane, but it's a little bit tighter, especially pinching it off turn number 2 here and heading down the backstretch. That gives Stone A little bit extra run with momentum on the outside going into turn number 3. Little short shoot there between turns 3 and 4. You don't really straighten the car out per se, but the corner does straighten out. That is a long, long sweeping turn 3 and 4 end of this racetrack, and a much tighter turns 1 and 2 end that they're working through right now. As we have completed 3 laps, we'll be halfway through the heat race when they come by the line this time. Stone continuing to hold on by about a car length. Battle a little further back in the field for the 3rd spot. Ivan Jocelyn, the blue car on the outside in turn number 4, trying to battle it out with Jason Morrison. Morrison has the preferred lane on the bottom, at least for right now, going through turns 1 and 2. And Morrison will cash the opportunity to move up into the number 3 position as the field works up into turn number 3. Left side of your screen, battle for the race lead continues as Stone tries to pull away from the Horning 2H machine as they head up through corners 1 and 2. Right side of your screen, that is the action for 3rd and 4th between Morrison with the 7:15 and the 49 of Jocelyn. There's about a 3-second gap, well, make it a 2-second gap, between the battle for the lead and the battle for the 3rd spot as we come to 2 to go this time going into turns 1 and 2. So Nick Stone, who builds a lot of these Pro Stock chassis now, has incorporated a lot of sophisticated technology into these aftermarket tubular chassis that these Pro Stocks now utilize. Brings that car off turn number 4 to the white flag this time, so final lap underway as Stone looks to punch his ticket here with a win in the qualifier. Hornet gets within a car length coming off turn number 2 with the 2H. Can't get any closer. He tries an outside run in turn number 3. Car slips on him a little bit. Stone, nice and solid coming off turn number 4. Is going to run it right down to the checkered flag. So Stone picks up the win. Horning right there for 2nd. Morrison finishes 3rd. Jocelyn grabs the number 4 spot. Santuccione will round out the top 5, and they'll be followed some distance back by the Rob Van Arnhem number 71 and the number 62 machine of Nick Dana will complete the field. So that is the full run for your Leather Stocking Credit Union Pro Stock heat races, now courtesy of Amsterdam Truck Center, State Highway 5S, specializing in Peterbilt, Kenworth, and trim car equipment. We present the first of 2 heats for the mighty Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds. Starting lineup for this one, RJ, Ronnie Johnson, and the 2RJ comes from the front row. Outside the front row will be the number 4 machine. That'll be Cody Clark. Row 2 on the inside, making a visit for this Wednesday night program, Anthony Perego out of Walden with the 4AP. Brian Calabrese with the 21C outside row 2. Row 3 on the inside, Mike Trachtold with the 28T out of Roscoe, and Rocky Warner from Johnstown with the number 79 outside that row. Row 4, Danny Varens, 93, and the Bobby Hackle, the 4th, 97. Final row is going to be Craig Hansen with the number 20C, and Luciano, or we prefer to call him Pep Karate, driving the other number 4 machine, driving the number 3 machine, I should say. Into the Sunoco start zone. Green flag waves off turn number 4. 8 laps the distance here for the Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds. Up to 467 cubic inches of big block horsepower. Powers its way off turn number 2 and down the backstretch with Ronnie Johnson taking the early lead with the 2RJ machine. Oh, how he would love to win on 12A opening day in a tribute to his dad. And he can start it off with a heat race win here this evening as he leads Perego off turn number 2, and they are separated by about a car length. Now make it 2 car lengths as they head down into turns 3 and 4. Coming out quickly though, don't look now, there's Cody Clark, the other number 4 machine. That is the Dayglow and Black number 4. On the right side of your screen is just popping the nose in there. It's starting to draw in on this lead duo. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for the 5th position going into turn number 3. Danny Varon trying to sneak a nose down to the inside of Brian Calabrese. Calabrese shut the door on him as RJ is able to extend his lead a little bit here, working through turn number 2 and down the backstretch. Varon trying to wind up with that number 93 machine coming off turn number 2, but Calabrese will hold on to the position as they head down into turns 3 and 4, currently running in the number 5 spot. Battle on for second, coming off turn number 2 and down the backstretch. Cody Clark has caught the 4 AP of Anthony Perego, so a pair of 4s are going to start to battle it out as they work off turn number 4. Now they'll get a little bit of separation here as they come down the front stretch. Johnson continuing to hold on to the lead, and the pair of 4s, which is a bad poker hand, but a good battle for second and third, continue on as they head down the backstretch and into turn number 3. Cross flags have come up. We are now at the 2 to go signal. 6 laps down, 2 remain for RJ. Ronnie Johnson up at the head of the field. He's opened up a pretty comfortable margin here as they work into turns 3 and 4 over Perego and Clark, followed by Trouchold with the 28T and Calabrese with the 21C, rounding out the top 5 positions here. White flag has waved. Next flag will end the race as in the checkered flag. So RJ brings the 2 RJ machine off turn number 4, and appropriately enough, on a tribute to Jack Johnson night, his son Ronnie Johnson is a heat race winner. Anthony Perego finishes second. Clark comes away third. Trouchold is fourth. Calabrese fifth. Varon in sixth, followed by Warner, Hansen, Hackle, and Pep Karate rounding out the field. So again, the top 5, Ronnie Johnson, your winner. Anthony Perego finishes second. Cody Clark comes away with the number 3 spot. Trouchold finishes fourth, and Calabrese rounding out the top 5. Second heat race for the Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds will come out to a 1 to go signal. Here's your starting lineup. Joe Soul in the Palmer Service Center 76 comes from the front row. On the outside of the front row is the Wilcox Construction 84Y. That's Alex Yankowski. The Haas Automation number 9S Superman Matt Shepard inside row number 2, and on the outside that's Mark Johnson, and the other number 9 car, the one that is doesn't have the HAS on the side. Row 3 on the inside is where we're going to find Jessica Friesen, the 1ZTs, 1Z, and on the outside scheduled to be Jack Lehner, but he had a broken U-joint in hot laps earlier and may not be able to answer the call for this one. Eric Max 71, Adam McAuliffe with the 24, and the Hallmark 44 of Stuart Friesen round out the starting field, 8 laps the distance. Ready to come into the Sunoco start zone here off turn number 4. Green flag waves, and Joe Soul punches the loud pedal, gets ahead of Yankowski as they head into turns 1 and 2. Shepard going by Mark Johnson, going to third. Zemkin jumps right into the number 4 spot. Door wide open for Matt Shepard to take the number 2 spot from Yankowski as they go rolling into turns 3 and 4 here on the takeoff lap, but it will be Mike Soul in the number 76 leading at the end of lap number 1. Shepard back in the number 2 spot, lurking just a car length away as they head down towards turn number 3. Down through turn number 4, almost wheel to wheel. Shepard trying to poke a wheel inside, not close enough to put a move on just yet as we complete lap number 2. Little bobble there is all it's going to take, and the 76 gets drop kicked back into the number 2 spot. Shepard going in front there. Looks like perhaps the 76 caught a run, and now he's wide off turn number 4. That leaves the door open for Alex Yankowski, and I'm wondering if maybe something in the right rear has gone a little bit awry on the Jamaica Soul number 76. Looks like it's rolling hard onto that right rear corner. Stuart Friesen, meanwhile, trying to pick off a couple of cars here at a time. He's just gotten by the Moody Mile Motorsports 24 machine of Adam McAuliffe, so that'll bump him up a position in the running order. That'll put him up into the 6th spot. His next target directly ahead is that orange, blue, and white S&S sponsored number 9J of Mark Johnson. Friesen, the NASCAR Truck Series competitor, working his way off turn number 4, trying to carry some momentum down the front stretch. Now he'll drop it down toward the bottom here in turns 1 and 2. Goes way out by the wall on the backstretch Now winds it back up here, coming through turns 3 and 4, just looking for lines and ways to get by. Meanwhile, Matt Shepard on cruise control by several car lengths, almost a third of a straightaway lead over Alex Yankowski at the front of this field, as Soul continues to run third with 1Z of Friesen holding on to the number 4 spot as we get the white flag. Final trip around here for the Amsterdam Truck Center Modifieds here in their second and final heat race of the evening. Stuart Friesen on the right side of your screen, battling with Mark Johnson, trying to move up another spot as Shepard will come off turn number 4. He's going to get the checkered flag with almost a full straightaway advantage over Yankowski at the finish. Soul is going to hang on over Jessica Friesen for third, and Mark Johnson holds off Stuart Friesen for the number 5 spot. They're followed by Adam McAuliffe with the number 24, and the 71 of Eric Mack completes the field. So once again, top 5 finishers. Matt Shepard, your winner. Alex Yankowski comes away runner-up. Jamike Soul third. Jessica Friesen fourth. And Mark Johnson rounds out the top 5 finishers. All right, we switch gears now for the Swagger Factory Apparel Crate Sportsman. Swagger Factory Apparel brings you top-notch race gear crafted with precision and style, with 30 years of experience in the industry, providing racers with premium products. The Bobby Reinhardt 618 and Kyle Dingman's 1D are going to make up row number 1 for this qualifier. Clyde Peak in the 99, Dylan Madsen with the 89, they are going to be row number 2. Row 3, Dylan Eldred with the 28 and the Greg Havlicek number 15. The 4th row, quickest in practice earlier, Chad Edwards with the 10%. Randy Kosselman's 5C outside that row. And then if he can answer the call, and I do not see him out there, Jimmy Beach out of Gloversville was slated to be there with the number 96B, but he had trouble in hot laps earlier. Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman GM Crate 602 motors. Other than that, they're a modified. Big difference is what's under the hood. That GM 602 crate on a 2-barrel carburetor instead of a 467 cubic inch bored out big block with a 4-barrel carburetor. Early race lead is going to go to Kyle Dingman as the field works into turn number 3 for the first time at full song, with Bobby Reinhardt tucking into the number 2 spot. He's under threat now coming off turn number 4 from the number 89 of Dylan Madsen. Madsen moves up into second, and then behind him, Chad Edwards has just slotted up into the number 3 position with the 10% car. Coming around to complete lap number 2. Nice advantage for Dingman as he crosses the line, heads back towards turns 1 and 2, also trying to work his way up through the field now. Here comes that number 28 of Dylan Eldred. Eldred is able to get by the Reinhardt 618 machine, so Eldred will move up a position here, jumping up into the top 5 and up into the number 4 spot now as we cross the line here on lap number 3. A little further back, Reinhardt continuing to unfortunately go backwards. Looks like the handle not really good on that car, as Havlicek in the 15 was able to get by him and advance a position. At the front of the field, it is still Dingman with the number 1D holding on to the top spot, with Madsen several car lengths back in the 2nd position. That gap looks to be about a second and change as they come off turn number 4 here to the halfway point. 4 down, 4 remain. Chad Edwards continues to run solo in 3rd, Eldred in 4th, and Havlicek in the number 5 spot. The pack works down into turns 3 and 4. Laps ticking away here. 2 to go this time by for Kyle Dingman and the Carroll-sponsored number 1D machine. Madsen continues to hold on to that runner-up spot with Edwards back in spot number 3 as they will come around off turn number 4 this time and see the white flag. So final lap underway here. The pack rolls back into turns 1 and 2. And Dingman with the 1D makes his way down that backstretch, which generally just eases itself into turn number 3. Long sweeping turn 3, followed by a tight pinch here off turn number 4 to the checkered flag at the line. So Kyle Dingman will be your winner. Dylan Madsen will finish second. Chad Edwards will come away third. Fourth goes to the 28 of Dylan Eldred. And I believe Havlicek, yes, Greg Havlicek rounding out the top 5. So it's Dingman, Madsen, Edwards, Eldred, and Havlicek as your top 5 here in the first heat for the Swagger Factory Apparel Crate Sportsman. Heat race number 2, getting ready to roll out on track. Here's the way they'll line up for heat number 2. One of the top dogs, and he's a young gun to boot in this Crate Sportsman category. Peyton Talbot with the 14T will come from pole. John Dumond with the 31J outside row number 1. Row 2 on the inside, Brett Mortensen with the 1B and Mark Mortensen. It's an all Mortensen row number 2 with Brett in the 1B and Mark in the 1M. Then we have Mason Gray with the number 26 inside row number 3, joined by Brock Miller with the 164 outside that third row. Kirsten Schwartz with the number 24 inside row number 4. Drove karts for many years before she moved up into full-size race cars. Joined by Josh Percy with the number 11 outside row number 4. And the 14W, that will be the Timothy Wilmot entry that will round out the starting field. And again, 8 laps the distance. Top finishers will redraw for starting spots in tonight's Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman feature. Good form into the Sunoco start zone. Green means go. Talbot and Dumond will go wheel to wheel up into turns 1 and 2, with Talbot grabbing the early advantage over the Dumond number 31. As they head down into turn number 3, the Mortensen slot into spots 3 and 4 may not be done yet. Dumond, a little bit of a push out of that car coming off turn number 4, leaving the inside lane open as they work down into turns 1 and 2. And I believe that is going to be the 1B of Mortensen that has moved up into second. We'll double check when he comes around off turn number 4 this time. So we'll have 2 complete as your leader, Peyton Talbot, rolls down off turn number 4. It is the 1M, so that is Mark Mortensen that has worked his way into second. Dumond in third, Brett Mortensen in fourth, and the number 26 of Mason Gray rounds out the top 5. So we watch the battle for third and fourth work its way down here through turn number 4. Working back down through turn number 2, Dumond with the number 31 having to adjust his driving style a little bit. As again, a little bit of a push in that car, and the way you can cure the push is to change the driving style a little bit. It tracked much better that time off turn number 4, keeping the car as straight as possible to not scrub off a lot of speed as he carries off turn number 2. Here comes the 164 of Brock Miller. Brock trying to crack the top 5 here, trying to close up on the Mason Gray number 26. They're separated by about 4 or 5 car lengths. Meanwhile, Mason Gray not paying attention to what's going on behind him. He can't see what's going on behind, but he can see Brett Mortensen about 2 car lengths in front of him here coming off turn 2. And he continues to put the pedal to the metal here as we close in on the conclusion of lap number 6 for your race leader, Peyton Talbot. So just 2 laps left to go. Dumond continues to run in the 3rd position. Brett Mortensen in 4th, Gray in 5th, and Brock Miller trying to crack in there, but has not been close enough to make a move yet for the top 5. So Peyton Talbot swings the 14T off turn number 2 for the final time, and he'll roll down here into turns 3 and 4, looking for the checkered flag and the win here in heat number 2 for our Swagger Factory Apparel Sportsman. So Peyton Talbot picks up the heat race win, and Mark Mortensen will finish in the number 2 spot. John Dumond grabs 3rd, Brett Mortensen 4th, Mason Gray rounds out your top 5 finishers, and that is 2 of the 3 Swagger Factory Apparel Crate Sportsman heats completed. Final Swagger Factory Apparel Crate Sportsman heat race, final heat race of the night here for our 12A opening day program. Finds Dave Constantino out of Brun Albin in the DKM Honda number 7 on the pole. Butchie Irwin in the number 117 outside row 1. Stephen Gray with the 25 and the Tanner Warner 78. They are going to share row number 2. Third row on the inside, Matt Perry with the number 74. Joined on the outside by Michael Ballestero with the number 27. And the fourth row will be the Chip Constantino 63, Clayton Duma with the 314, and the number 98 of Cameron Hotelling will round out your starting field for this 8-lap affair. So the field formed up in neat rows of 2. As we come off turn number 4, looking for the green flag. Green flag waves. Final Swagger Factory Apparel Crate Sportsman heat race underway. Dave Constantino will lead the pack through turns 1 and 2. Slotting in there in the number 2 spot is Irwin. Tanner Warner in early third. The 27 of Ballestero makes a nice outside move to come away with the number 4 spot as we come around for the conclusion of lap number 1. The 25 of Gray rounding out the top 5 here as the pack works through turn number 2 and heads down the backstretch. Dave Constantino already trying to leg out an advantage. He's opened up about 6 car lengths here on Butchie Irwin as we come around for lap number 2. Meanwhile, the 27 machine of Michael Ballestero working that loud pedal, but he's got company coming up behind him. That is Stephen Gray in the number 25, who is a few car lengths back behind. Little bobble for Ballestero there in the middle of turns 3 and 4. With these Crate 602 Sportsman cars, it's all about keeping the forward momentum, trying to keep the car as straight as possible. Don't slide the car too sideways or slide the tires too much. It'll kill the momentum. You can see that one little bobble from Ballestero there and what difference it made in the gap between positions in just that one corner. And now Ballestero cutting a couple of good laps here has been able to open the gap back up on the Gray number 27 machine. Coming to the conclusion of lap number 5 for your race leader, Dave Constantino, as we watch Tanner Warner running in the 3rd spot in that blue number 78 machine, working his way up into turn number 2. There is the gap between 1st and 2nd. Going into turn number 3, Constantino, the black DKM number 7, continues to hold on to the top spot. Butchie Irwin pedaling hard in that number 117 machine, working through turns 1 and 2. And Irwin still about 4 car lengths or so back as we'll come to the white flag this time. So final lap underway for Dave Constantino. Looking to put his name in the book as a heat race winner on the evening. And he'll cruise down off turn number 4. Come underneath Joe Chris's checkered flag for the win. Irwin finishes 2nd. Warner is in for 3rd. Ballestero takes the number 4 spot. And it'll be Stephen Gray rounding out your top 5 finishers. So Constantino with a pretty comfortable margin of victory over Irwin, followed by Warner, Ballestero, and Gray to complete our top 5 finishers. With that, all of our qualifying events for the evening are concluded. For those of you watching on FloRacing, we'll step aside for this commercial timeout from Fonda Speedway.